Plenty of time for that afterwards. Good evening, everyone.
That's what she
Welcome to episode 21 of Season 5 of the Ought to Know Better podcast. I'm Smarty. I'm your host this evening, hostess with the mostest. And I'm joined by the yellow hat-wearing spreadsheet warrior, Mr. Matthew Gilly. How are you today?
Good evening. I am super smashing great. And this evening, Matthew, I am sponsored by Brooklyn Brewery that produce Brooklyn Pilsner Crisp Lager. So if you want to get in touch and sponsor the pod, or just me as an individual, feel free.
Yes, absolutely. We'll take all your beers. In fact, no, I won't actually, because next week I'm going on a bloody diet. But anyway, enough about that.
Over.
We are also joined by the ponytailed princess with the little earring down at the bottom, the half man, half ironing board. How are you this evening, Jay Carter?
There's no earring at the moment. There's no earring. It's an earringless period.
But you still haven't fixed the hair.
There's nothing to be fixed, my friend.
2025 has all of a sudden got better. Now we've not got Jay and his little Christmas present dangly fucking... dangly
I'm
thing.
all right. Apart from me.
Let's run an intro, lads, and we'll get into it, shall we?
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leads are shit. We're recording, you know. Oh, shit.
We had a good start. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things, that's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this.
James McNichol is quite clearly new here. Good evening, everyone else in the comments. Get your interactions in, and we'll interact with you throughout the show. I suppose we best kick it off with an update for the predictions. Gilly, have you got any update on that quality predictions league that you have us do every week?
Yeah. So the table is exactly as it was, which will please Luke no end. Every single person except one got 1 point. Because not a single person went for 1-0, not a single person went for us only to win by 1 goal. Big Lou, however, went 1-0 then. So he gets nothing.
Oh.
Should be mine.
He's a right pessimist.
It's quite annoying how pessimistic he is. Really.
When did he last go for a Leeds win?
He's been hit and miss. I think Oxford, he went big for Leeds. I think that were a 5-0 Leeds, actually. But
that's what's put him back where he was. That's done.
He's just all over the place, really.
Yeah, he's quite negative. I don't, but he's not real though. He don't actually think that we're going to lose all these these games or whatever. He just does it for just for sake. It's quite annoying, really. So 1-0 against Harrogate, however you want to speak, however you want to talk, however you want to say it. Do you know the correct saying of Harrogate, Gilly?
Harrogate. There's no H in it, and there's no Y in it. So if you live in Harrogate, you call it Harrogate, but that's just wrong.
It does sound wrong.
I'm not having any of it.
It does sound wrong. So out of the three of us then, there was only one in attendance, and I believe that was you, Gilly.
It was indeed.
Because we've not done B&C, because none of us could be bloody arsed, let's be honest. How did you find the game? Did you enjoy yourself? Were you in good and sound voice? Because it didn't sound like it on the television box over there. I can't say television box and not the digital wireless because I wasn't legally streaming this one. It was on the BBC. So how was it? Who were your standout performers? What was the away crowd like, etc., etc.? Take it away.
Well, the away crowd was... as we reminded them on a regular basis, they're a town full of Leeds fans. They want that much. I think the atmosphere is always a little bit weird. I did jocularly message you and say that the South Stand were not missed at all. It was an abject lie. You do that with Ellen Road, and it's always
going in his head.
He didn't reply, actually. I don't think.
It's his vein or just a twitch. I thought that fucking wanker.
No, I think it's always going to impact. Even though there were so many, I think the fact that there was a tweet from, I think it was Graham, that was talking. It might have been Berren, actually, one of his first for the Athletic. Congratulations to Berren.
Yes.
one of the worst kept secrets of December. I think that was.
Absolutely.
One of the tweets that he said was one of the Harrogate Town players went over to Dan James and asked for his shirt, and then went over to the Harrogate end and gave it to a little kid because
Yes.
it's just a town full of Leeds fans. So in terms of atmosphere, it was just a bit strange. There were a lot of "Where's your famous atmosphere" at the start, but I think it were all very tongue in cheek. There were a lot of town full of Leeds fans, only here to watch the Leeds, all of that sort of stuff, but. It soon died down. There weren't a lot, and I think that was echoed by the game. There weren't a lot in the game. I know that we would work a couple of times, and obviously we scored, but it never felt like there were any sort of edge. It felt like a nice club had come and had a kick about with us. That's what it felt like. There were no edge in the crowd. There were no edge on the pitch. It was just a nice fixture. I didn't want Tonkum because this seemed quite like Sam Byram's a nice boy, that sort of thing.
Yes.
You don't want to see somebody going in 2-footed on Sam Byram because he's a nice boy, and I didn't want Leeds doing that to Harrogate. I thought in terms of standout players, a tip of the hat to Ramazani, the shortest man on the pitch, scoring a header. I thought that was quite impressive. But I think for me, I thought we were relatively poor all over, and that's evidenced by the fact that we played League Two opposition at home and only beat them 1-0. I thought Stroik were poor. I thought Gillivogie were poor, which is a real shame because I love him. I think he's ace as an individual and as a professional.
Yeah.
He's a bit slow, isn't he? Let's move on from that really quickly because otherwise I'm going to get a load of shit.
Well,
for
I
that.
mean, I don't think you are because I think your opinions is shared. I don't know about Jay. We'll come on to you. I suppose you've just seen the highlights or saw it live on the TV, as did I. But yeah, with Gillivogie, I expected more. I'll be honest. I mean, I know he's not a centre back, and I know he's obviously brought on with 2 or 3 minutes to go and stuck in the centre of midfield just to calm things down, and. But yeah, I wasn't. There were a couple of passes that he did in first half, which I thought, I think one of them went out, one of his first passes.
Yeah.
It completely went straight past Schmidt. Oh, well, Christ. But yeah, we'll get up. We're going to do a bit of a player season review as well. I hope you saw my.
I did, but I've not prepared, so it'll be from the heart.
It's fine. Just go off cuff. We'll do off cuff. We do a lot of off cuff stuff.
I know.
That's fine. I don't want to mention right at the back just yet because I have a feeling that we'll come on to that. But to answer the question in terms of standout players, I thought Joseph stood out for being really poor, and I thought Solomon stood out for being our one player that actually on the night looked dangerous.
I'd say that was fair, to be honest. That's pretty much exactly how I've taken it. I mean, I've not really looked into it too much because I don't with early rounds of the FA Cup. I'm surprised we didn't lose, if I'm totally honest.
Well, we made 8 changes. It's always going to unsettle stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not too much to think about. You'd like to see. I mean, I'm surprised that we didn't see more youth, to be honest. That he used pretty much the whole of the fringe and a couple of others or whatever, a couple of first.
The fringe. Who's Danny get on?
The fringe. Oh, he's fringe-less. But yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see more youth, and I think that their manager said the same, didn't he? He was surprised or gutted that Daniel Farke didn't use some kids for him to bully. But, fair play. The Harrogate want to come and play, at Elland Road. It's their biggest crowd they've ever played against. And it's chuffing. I think, did they bring 5,000?
I thought it was 4.5 or something like that. But
even
yeah.
4.5. Their average attendance is like 2,800. So, they've brought a fair old crowd with them. And they've had a good crack. And they did all right. They set up to shit houses. And they came close a couple of times to scoring. But...
yeah,
really, we should have buried him good and proper. I mean, like you said, Jay, what did you think of Matteo Joseph's performance then?
I felt disappointed for him. I felt like he actually did some good stuff, like his movement and things were great, and his willingness to have a go and hit the post with that shot. That was all good, but the finishing just isn't there, and he makes bad decisions. The pass that he played for James was so overhit. That should have been game, set, and match right there. But, he's trying too hard. He really wants to score, and he's just throwing everything at it now. But I don't think his composure's there because he's so desperate at this point.
Ian Ward's in the comments says, I watched a load of FA Cup this weekend, and my observation is that all teams were brought down to the lower teams' levels. I kind of agree. I think that you You tend to get a
Tottenham
lot of that in the cup. Yeah, well, I mean, we've been scorned by playing on AstroTurf ourselves, haven't we? You could see that you could clearly see that they were affecting the Tottenham players. Not that I'm making any excuses for them or whatever, but you could see that they were struggling on that pitch. And when you're used to playing on grass and you go into AstroTurf, it's completely different, isn't it? Did you see Archie Gray?
You don't want to be like falling on it and getting your legs destroyed either.
Well, you won't be slider tackling anyone, that's for sure, will you?
Well, you do, but you only do it once.
Maybe that's what Jay did. Running on AstroTurf too much, his bottom half has worn away. Did you see Archie Gray's interchange with one of their fans? Swapped a scarf for his boots. Did you see that?
No.
That was brilliant. So obviously, after the game or whatever, he's got a scarf of one of their fans, and he says, "Have you asked your parents if you can give me this scarf?" And he's basically swapped him for his boots. He's just a lovely lad, isn't he? Just a lovely lad, really, really nice lad. Is Archie Gray?
Shame that we didn't have a sell-on clause now that Real Madrid is sniffing.
Apparently so. Yeah,
but it's okay because Parag does multi-million-dollar contracts in his sleep.
That's because it's in his dreams.
Yeah,
it's not a real
apparently,
thing.
Apparently Madrid were sniffing around him in the summer as well as quite a few other clubs anyway, weren't they? So you were bound to go. End of the day, you were bound to go. But yeah, chuffing hell, Real Madrid. Whew. Get stuck in. Steve Brown says, thought Schmidt was decent, showed enough to play more minutes, in my opinion. What did you think to Schmidt's performance, chaps? Because I think really
I'd agree with that.
The only players that I were really watching was Darlow, who will come on to Schmidt, and Gilly, to be honest. But I'd kind of made my mind up over Gilly within the first 10-15 minutes or so. Schmidt then. Gilly, what did you think of him?
I don't think he did much wrong. Fairly lively. I didn't think he did all that much that was positive, but it was his home debut. In fact, I think, was that his full debut, home and away, other than coming on at first start. So I think, from that sort of perspective, you've got to take it in that context. I don't think he did anything wrong. I wouldn't be picking him over Bogle if he's fit, and I wouldn't be picking him over Firpo if he's fit, and Byram would be my first choice back up to them. But it's nice for us to be able to have some cover there, because if you consider, I did some breakdown of appearances over the last 3 or 4 years, and Bogle, Firpo, and Byram all averaged 21 appearances a season. Well, that's not enough to cover 2 positions between them.
Not really.
It's good to be able to see him. It's good that Farker's got over, whether he shot in his slippers or banged his misses, whatever it was. It's good that Farker's got over it and given him a bit of a go. And he looked well. We know that he had an hernia op. And you look at the way that Ruta played last season, he played really well. Made me eat my words. Fair point. But he played really well. And then after his hernia, he was really poor, wasn't he? Comparatively to what he'd been before his hernia. So, it would have been understandable if Schmidt had come back in.
Rutter last season had a bit of a dip when he had his hernia.
Thanks for listening, Smarty.
Oh, sorry. I was reading comments. Sorry.
That's exactly the point I just made.
I thought you were still on about Joshua Gilly.
I was comparing Schmidt and his hernia op to Rutter last season and his hernia.
I did not hear that. I'm looking at the comments.
You've done a Luke.
No, I'm not playing on my phone. I'm being an ignorant twat. Matt Barlow says, apparently we waived the sell-on clause in order to get a higher fee, now outbid Spurs, that we needed to sell him through. That makes no sense, Mark, but I kind of get what you're saying. My England is broken. He's corrected himself down at the bottom there. I read that, hey, what's he on about? But anyway, fuck Archie Gray, he left us because he wanted to. Solomon then.
By all accounts.
Desperate for it, was he? Absolutely, love it. You never know. All these people, they'll say all sorts of words to stir up some shit between the fans. They'll say out, don't they?
Don't take much of that lot either.
So really, moving on from Harrogate, we've got nothing to report on apart from the fact that Darlow should start for every single game going forward. What do you reckon?
You reckon?
Certainly, I think he did enough to. I think he did enough to keep hold of the shirt. There were 3 or 4 occasions that the ball went near him and he caught it.
He actually came out for one and caught it and made a save.
He got his hands to it, and it stopped there. And that was mind blowing for me. Now, distribution might be limited. Do you know what? We're going to dominate the ball so much. I don't think that matters. I would definitely be starting him in the next game. Now, the other thing for me is the biggest celebration of the night for me was actually in the Peacock when the team came out. I'm just going to leave that there, but it wasn't Meslier being dropped that was the celebration. But yeah, for me, Darlow didn't do anything wrong. And what you're really hoping for in that situation, given what's gone before it, is get through it without any hiccups. Don't come out and fumble a ball early on and then make it look like you're nervous. Make it look like you're in control, and then you've got a chance of retaining the shirt. Yeah,
that's exactly. I mean, we all know realistically that he's not going to retain the shirt, and he's going to go back to that
probably not
spaghetti eating shit house. But like you said, he's given me a lot more confidence seeing him. I mean, the fact that the crowd cheered him when he came to catch a ball that bounced high in the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah,
it
I
says
wonder
a
what
lot.
Meslier thinks when he's sat on bench seeing that.
It says a lot, doesn't it? I keep seeing. I mean, obviously for the last few weeks we've been going on about Meslier and stuff like that, but it's a hot topic in it. Until he's back between the sticks, we're going to be making these comparisons between him and Darlow. And to be fair, I half expect him to see him on Sunday anyway against the Wendy's. But Darlow didn't do anything wrong. I thought he did. I thought he played quite confidently. He looked quite relaxed. Granted, it were against Harrogate, but he did make a couple of saves, and he did come and collect the ball from a corner, etc., like we've already said. So, I've got no issue with starting.
A real boon, a feather in the cap for Darlow is the fact that he's used to playing with the Welsh team. So, if Ampadu and Rodon, or albeit Ampadu probably in midfield, but if Ampadu and Rodon in front of him, he's already got a solid relationship with the players that are there. It's not like there's somebody coming in that's not used to playing with anybody there, and obviously he's been training with them all for a long time. So, for me, I think for him as much as anybody else, Meslier needs some time out the side.
For his own good, I think. For his own well-being as well. That.
I think I'm still underwhelmed at the thought of Darlow in goal for us, but he didn't really do anything wrong, so you can make the case to keep him in and give Meslier that break, and I think we have to. Even though he doesn't fill me with confidence, Meslier, we know that he's going to do stupid shit, so... What is there to lose?
Remember the reaction of the defence last time out?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What is it to lose at this point in giving Darlow?
The thing is, they'll have seen him the day after. They'll be sat in the changing room with him, after the game, etc.
Yeah, of course they will.
Emotions are always high during the game. I mean, I've fallen out with loads of people playing football, loads, and then it's been water under the bridge or whatever. As soon as the final whistle goes,
I'm hoping Rodon slapped him.
Just kick shit out of him.
Open and slap.
It's like Gaffer taped him and stuck him in one of the showers. Fucking have that, you dickhead.
But we're talking about for his benefit. If Meslier comes back in and makes a mistake, then where do you go? You've already shown. You've already shown that you don't have any trust in Darlow. So as a gaffer, for me, the least risky approach is to keep Darlow in, because you've played him in the cup. Meslier's made a mistake. You've taken him out of the firing line. You're going to stick with the keeper that's just had a clean sheet. That's quite a safe, quite an easy approach to take. And the risky approach is to put Meslier back in. You could break this kid's career. That kid, he's 24. He's 200 and odd appearances for us now. But you could really, really impact his entire career if it goes south from here. I think that. And if he comes in and he makes a mistake, I mean, how toxic will that be?
Especially after the facts, publicly backed him and said, that the team have gathered round him and he's going to come back from this stronger, which is absolute waffle, if I'm being honest.
That leads to this comment here from Steve Brown, where he said if Mez comes in and makes a mistake, then that's on Farker. Farker has to be thinking, what about me? If I put him back in and he does something, what about me? What happens to me?
Yeah, but he's got a bit of an ego anyway, hasn't he, Farker?
I think you've got to have at a certain level.
He's got to be conscious of the fact that he's going to get
understandably, because he's the gaffer. But if he brings Mez back in on Sunday, even though really he shouldn't do, it would be the first time I'm thinking, I'm starting to doubt you a little bit, because a lot of people have doubted. From day one, as soon as he walked through the door, there were people doubting him. You've always got the Farkout crowd, as loud and proud in the stratosphere. But I just think, if he continues making, Meslier our number one, which is, as far as I'm concerned, a huge mistake. It's a glaringly obvious mistake. The fans are idiots. They can see that he's, clearly been just ignorant, really. And to me, it's just not a good look. And it's the first time I will ever think, do you know what? You're a fucking dickhead. And I've never said that about him before. But time will tell. But like you said, Gilly, if he does come out and make another mistake against these Wendy's, one of all people, apart from frigging Sheffield Wednesday, for Christ's sake, but two, he's never going to come back from that. He will never, ever come back from that.
No?
I think it's only a matter
Look
of time.
what happened to Rahubka and the performance there, dropped and then gone. And
would
you're
Farker
looking
have
at
done the
that
same,
level.
though? Would Farker have taken him off at half time if those roles were
Probably
reversed
not.
now?
No,
Would he?
probably not.
And that kind of says a lot about Farker as well, to be honest.
But look how
backing his
stubborn he
players
was.
to
We
the hill.
mentioned Rutter in last season. Look how stubborn he was with the 9 and the 10. I know strikers. I know attackers. I know what I'm doing. And then he was forced into a position where he played Rutter in the 10. And then Rutter was a mainstay at the 10 instead of playing in the 9. That how many press conferences were he asked about it? Because it was glaringly obvious to everybody. And it were only when he were forced to do it, he went, actually, that does work. And then he stuck with it. It's like,
if I remember rightly, he made a comment and spent probably a good 5 or 10 minutes specifically on the subject and said, this is the last time I'm going to answer this question.
Yeah.
Here's why I'm doing it. And he explained why. And like you said, then, a few games later, we're playing fucking Jorginho at 10 anyway. And Pirro further up. So it's like, well.
We're all a bit
So,
bizarre.
and it were working.
Hey, they don't know everything. They don't know everything. I've had conversations with people on Twitter about how much his style's changed from last season to this season, or from when they were in charge of Norwich. There's been Norwich fans, on Twitter or X, sorry, pardon me, that have said his style's completely changed, etc. But that's not always a bad thing. From going from this free flowing, attacking football that he took to the Premier League, he's been more cautious, he's been more controlled, and a lot more, I suppose, possessive of the ball, if want of a better term. Obviously, we've got a lot more of the ball these days. We pretty much starve the opposition of the ball. He never used to play like that. People change the style of play, etc. And you've got to change with the times. It is what it is.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you can only. What's the term? You can only piss with the dick you've got, I think is your term, isn't it?
Yes.
So if he were at Norwich and didn't have the players that could play in that way, then he had to adapt his game. But he said before he even started at us that he wanted 100% possession. He was always going to be possession based. Obviously he'd had a look at the squad, but there was no growing into it or taking an approach, having a look at the players and then relaxing on it or anything like that. He made his case right from the outset. We want all the ball. So that might be something that's changed while he's been in Germany, which was an ill-fated time over there anyway. But if he just didn't feel like he had the players at Norwich, then he's not going to take that approach.
And we know he won't back to Norwich anyway, whereas he will be, And a lot of people have been calling for his head, saying that we shouldn't have him when we're going to.
We hope he will.
He's definitely more than deserved. If we're promoted, obviously, but he's more than deserved an opportunity to be a manager with Leeds United in the Premier League, because he will be backed. If it doesn't work out, then it don't work out.
Look at his face.
Gilly was one of the people that I'd seen, absolutely not, we should ship him out. But he deserves the opportunity. We all know if we get promoted, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be the manager for us in the Premier League. But we'll just see. I think he's worth a punt.
It might be.
Definitely worth a punt.
I actually want listening to him there. I wasn't really believing him when he said about he were reading the comments, but I was reading the comment then and laughing at that while Smarty were talking, because Scooby D2 says that strange Yorkshire sport. That strange Yorkshire sport, often done in the moonlight while drunk, duck quacking, cow tipping, flea throwing, and everyone's favourite sheep winking in hats.
This one.
Yeah, that's
flea throwing. It's great.
Flea throwing.
Get the flea
Nice
thrower.
G says, Fark's presser worried me when he stated that he couldn't see how we could have improved the squad. Did he actually say that, or did he just say that he wouldn't take anyone unless they improve the squad as it is? I think he mentioned.
Well, he would open at the start of the season that he needed a 10, wasn't he? He was very clear that he needed a 10, and we still don't have one. So it'd be really strange for him to then say against his own words, having said that we need a 10, that now we don't have one.
How could they make that bid for Hamer, even if it was just to piss off Wilder, but then not do anything now? Because that
It's all
says,
smoke and mirrors, Jay, innit?
there was a need for a player, hence we made a bid. We recognised it and we made a bid, tried to get someone. So why do we now not need that someone?
Yeah, but he's not come out and said that, though, has he?
No,
this
he
is
hasn't.
what I mean.
No,
like,
no.
Just talking about the actions of the club.
He's playing the game, innit? And this is the thing with with the modern style, especially under the 49ers, etc. They keep the cards close to the chest, etc. Because at the end of the day, when teams know that Leeds United are knocking on your door trying to buy one of you, they're going to stick the price up a little bit. Or if some teams have got a sniff of who Leeds United might be going after, they'll probably want to get involved, etc. We see it time and time again.
Oh, yeah.
So I understand that they're not going to be saying, "Oh, we're going to be going for this player, we're going to be going for that player, or that position, etc." He's just going to keep it on the down low, and then if we get a player, then we get a player. But I agree.
And we've seen how quiet they are.
Players that should improve the squad and not just for the sake of signing someone.
No.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a truism, isn't it? You don't want to sign somebody that's not going to improve your team. That's fair. That's fine. I think that the other thing to bear in mind, if we're expecting a quiet window, is that your hand can be forced. Yep. Right at the end of the window, we'd already started the season. Big bid came in for Ruta and he went.
Yeah,
there's nothing stopping that happening again. So they have to be active in the market and ready to move. If somebody comes in and slaps £35 million on table and says we're having Willie Nonto, are the club going to say no? I don't think so.
What do you say?
49ers will lap it up. 35 million at this point in time. I think that might unsettle the squad. So it also depends on what they do. But my problem is I'm looking that through the perspective of having zero trust in the 49ers and their capability to manage a football club. So I wouldn't take that money because I don't trust that they would do the right things to bring in a replacement.
Okay.
So
it's a fair comment. Based on what they've already said, and how the transfer window has gone so far, that's a fair comment. But I would snap someone's hand off at 35 million if for Nonto.
But you absolutely know that you need somebody that's going to come in and hit the ground running and be able to have an impact.
Exactly.
That
there's got to be someone lined up if you're doing that. Yeah, because you can't afford to lose a player like him and not have a replacement at this point in the season.
I mean, I've been underwhelmed. I've been underwhelmed by Nonto this season a little bit, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
I'm not having any of this. So Rodon, yes. Pirro, yes. Pirro's our only regular 9 goal scoring 9, isn't he? So that's fair. Rodon's been our most consistent defender, so that's fair. Aronson's been our worst player by Melier, so that's madness. I want to see Nonto in the middle. I'm desperate to see Nonto in the middle. I thought Solomon did all right while they were in there. I'm desperate to see Nonto in the middle. So I think that our chances and our odds of promotion would significantly be improved if Aronson got injured tomorrow. Our chance of getting promoted.
Saying Aronson's the worst player that we've had barring Meslier is obviously fucking bullshit. But and we can look at the stats. The stats are there to prove it. Meslier
has been worse.
Apart from Melier, he said.
I said apart from Melier.
He said Aronson's the worst apart from Melier.
Yeah. So who's been worse other than Melier?
Jay's asking the question.
No. But Jay and I are asking you who's been worse.
Oh, myself. Sorry, I thought it was Jay that asked the question. So we're like, hey, well, one of you's going to have to answer at some point. I don't think there's anyone been worse performing than Melier. I can't really say that anyone's had a bad season.
Who's been worse than Aronson other than Melier?
Yes, who's been worse?
If Melier's been our worst player, who else has been worse than Aronson?
I don't think anyone has been as bad. As well, obviously Melier's the worst, but I don't think anyone has had a bad season. Certainly not Aronson, who's one of our best performing players.
I mean, he's not.
I mean, statistics say that he is. But it is
the eye test does not agree. But he has made a few contributions.
I'm not saying, and I will go on and on and on and on about this conversation. I'm not saying that Aronson is the best player in our team. I'm not saying that he's the best player in our squad. However, the amount of shit that he gets is massively unjustified. The fact that he's putting man of the match performances in, I mean, he is doing. He's contributing probably as much as Pirro and fucking certainly Matteo Joseph. More than Nonto. He's chipped in with goals and not assists because whatever. But yeah, I would expect
which is quite important for a 10.
Which kind of is, but that's not his game. We understand. We know that we need a better number 10. But to say that he's the second worst player in our team is a fucking reach and a half.
I think it's only the recent mistake from Melier that's put him below Aronson. Until that point, Aronson,
including the Sunderland mistakes and the press and all that sort of stuff. Okay, yeah.
I'm glad that Aronson's chipped in a few goals and assists recently, but before that, there's been so many that he should have scored and it's completely fluffed. And that's what winds me up with him. It's the losing the ball, and it's the missing the chances that he does get, because he does get in good positions. He has clearly got some kind of footballing brain there that tells him where he should be and where he should be going.
There's been plenty of opportunities for all sorts of different players.
The execution is terrible, Smarty.
He's got the worst conversion rate of any attacker other than Joseph.
Yeah, he's not the greatest. I understand. Listen, we're all aware. We've all got eyes. We've all got a fucking brain. We can see that Aronson's not the best performing player and that he should do better in certain circumstances. But so should Pirro. So should Nonto. So should frigging Matteo Joseph. Matteo Joseph should be called Mr. Swing and a fucking miss as far as I'm concerned.
And I did say over than Joseph, he's at worst attack.
I'm not naive enough to say that Aronson isn't. Should be. Gilly Nonto's been worse than Aronson.
I disagree with that.
I think it's a fair shout. I wouldn't say worse, to be fair. I don't think there's many players that have had bad seasons, really, as far as bad seasons are going. I think it's just a bit of a. I think you're just throwing a generic fucking towel over Aronson because you've got a little bit of a narrative against him. But
right, the narrative is that I think he's shit, and I want him out the side. I don't have anything against him as a person. I'm starting to, because he's really pissing me off to that level. But I don't have anything against him as a person.
Like when he gets man of the match and stuff like that, or scores winning goals and stuff like that, does it really piss you off?
No, when he scores a goal, I cheer it as much as anybody else. Because I'm not going to stand there and boo him just because I don't think he's good enough for the team. There's been lots of people that I didn't think were good enough to play for Leeds over the course of the years. Steve Morrison is a player that also put a shift in, just like Aronson does, and had no footballing capability. But I still celebrate.
But Steve Morrison was fucking shit. Aronson isn't absolutely shit.
I don't think there's any difference between them.
Oh, come on, Gilly. Fucking hell. Stop talking shit now. Come on. Be honest. He's nowhere near as bad as Steve Morrison. Nowhere near.
I'll just leave it there.
I'm in the middle on that one. I don't think he's as bad as Morrison.
No, come on. Stop.
But I don't think he's good enough for us at the same time.
No, Ian, I don't think so. Certainly not in the Premier League. For now, it's working, and really all we need to be doing in this transfer window is plugging the leaks. And the leaks, as far as I'm concerned, is number 9 position. Certainly where Matteo Joseph's concerned. He's definitely going to be a player for the future, but not for now. Number 10, I would like, definitely. And a new keeper, because Melier is fucking shit.
When it comes to Joseph, I won't throw baby out of bathwater. I'm not looking for him to be sold.
No.
I'd like him to get a decent loan and go and play in Spain or somewhere like that, where he can be maybe a little bit out of the limelight. And there's a lot of pressure on him now because he's not got the goals that we'd hoped that he were going to get. So every time he goes on the pitch, he's carrying the weight of all of the appearances he's had before now and not scoring. I think there's a player there. He's just not ready.
I think,
and he'll be aware of like the abuse players like Bamford have had for not scoring, and that'll be something that'll be on his mind. He'll be thinking, how long until he's
and the death threats. The shit they've had over years.
I think, given his age, etc., and the fact that he's only a young lad, I don't think he'll get to that sort of level. I really don't.
But it has happened.
No.
I don't. I'm just saying that it might play on his mind a little bit, having seen it happen to someone else at the club.
I think he's just trying too hard, and he's just desperate to score. You can clearly see.
There's a Tyler Roberts about it, isn't there?
Yeah, massively.
100%.
But he has got ability, and he's getting a lot of unfair stick as well. He carries the ball well. He makes some good movement, just like everyone likes to say about Bamford, etc. His movement's better than Pirro by an absolute mile.
Yeah.
And he does get involved with a lot of the build-up play as well. But
his link-up plays better than Pirro's as well.
Yeah, I agree. But unfortunately,
here's a point.
The best finisher.
Joseph's confidence is sky when playing for his country. What changes with Joseph? Is it the players around him? Is it the coaching? Is it just the weight of the shirt?
Is it the level though? Because he's playing under 21s international football, isn't he?
Yeah, but is that any more difficult, or is that easier than playing Oxford? And
if I were playing fat lads my age, I would be more confident playing people my age than I would be playing fucking athletes that are a lot better than me.
Well, it comes in that thing we've talked about before on this pod about playing men's football. It's under 21 football. It's still under 21 football, even if it's international. It's not the same. Players are not using tricks that they've learned over years of booting people around and slyly fouling people that you would be getting in a proper first team game. So I think it's just I think it's just a difference in level because of the fact they're all kids basically. They're the best of the best kids, but they're still kids. It's not the same as grizzled championship bastards.
I mean, we'll all know, even as amateur footballers, from when I was playing when I was 18, 19-year-old, I didn't pull people, I didn't badmouth people, I didn't get in people's ear. I basically played. I played as hard and as fast as I could. Now I'm playing kids that are 19, 20, 23, 24. I'm pulling them. I'm telling them I'm going to build you up from. I do, and I get in their heads and I pull them and I push them all over the place. And
start
I do because that's what it is. But you're not going to get that at under 21s. It's a completely different level in it. So whatever. So
I think
anyway,
he probably just feels a bit more relaxed in light of that when he plays for that. The national side.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, he's one for future, isn't he, Joseph? But
like
you say, we definitely need someone to battle Pirro for that starting place anyway.
I just wanted to mention on that. So Ian Ward's just said a battleship moves better than Pirro. I think the frustration there, because Joseph's movement is better than Pirro's. Pirro's finishing is I think undoubtedly the best in the squad. Certainly over the course of the last 3 seasons at this level. I think the frustration there is, I know that we've mentioned it a few times, but we saw against Norwich in the playoffs that Pirro's got that in his locker. So I don't know why we don't see that more from it. That's the biggest frustration for me, is that he's actually got that competence, that capability in his locker to be able to go and do that. You just don't see it enough. And that's an even more frustrating thing for me. Sean Gregan wasn't slow because he didn't put the effort in. He was slow because he was a big man mountain and was slow with a massive ass. Pirro's got the ability to get around the pitch and just don't do it.
I think it depends what strain he's had before he comes out, whether he's had sleepy weed or wake up weed.
How hot the box was.
I mean, Chris has just made a point here. If we could merge Joseph and Pirro together, we'd have the best striker in the league. Now, the thing about that is, possibly, and we've said that before about Paddy and about if you had a finishing capability, you wouldn't have them in this league if they had the finishing capability and the movement and the athleticism to get around the pitch. You wouldn't have that. So it's a difficult one.
Put them both in teleporter together and hit the button. They come out the other side, a fused creature.
Time will tell, lads. Anyway, it's one to watch in it, but I'm fearful that they'll just stick with what they've got, and I think we'll struggle for it. If we lose Pirro, where are we getting most of our goals from? Yeah. At the end of the day, he moves like the QE2, etc., but he is our top scorer. How do you replace that? Especially in our system as well, when we're playing, like a few people in the comments have already said, when we're playing against brick walls, teams that come and defend so deep against us. It's a fine line, isn't it? A couple of out transfers then. Charlie Crew's gone to Doncaster. Are you bothered, lads?
Well, he won't get any football, will he?
No.
So it's good for him to go and get some football.
Yeah, I'm not going to miss him because I've not really seen much of him.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah. Good for him to go develop.
Fag seems like he doesn't want to start playing youth anyway. Obviously, as we've seen in the FA Cup, they don't even make country really this. It's like, whoa.
It is a little bit of a worry, I suppose, isn't it? The fact that we've seen 3 kids on the bench and now one of those kids isn't there. So you then go in another layer down. If we have the sort of injuries that we've had, if that keeps up, then I mean, there's a lot of people talking a lot about Harry, Archie's brother, and what a big future he might have, and he's back training and on target for a return and whatever else. But no minutes at all, and you're thinking, well, we had 3 kids on the bench, so unless they are focused on bringing somebody in, which then would be great, because you then youth player going out on loan, bringing a first teamer in, great, fantastic. But if they don't do that, you'd think that's a little bit of a risk, given that we have had to name him on the bench to avoid naming 2 keepers this season.
Yeah. It probably means more minutes for Gilavogi, which could be good or bad, depending
and
on
Ilya Gruev as well, that's come back from injury.
Yeah.
Yes, that was nice to see.
It was Gruev. And Firpo as well, actually. They were good.
Yeah.
I think there's only Bamford now that's on the injury list, isn't it? For now.
Yeah, that's it. We can quarantine
permanent
him.
resident.
And that's why we didn't see the youth, isn't it? Because, he wanted to play the fringe players and then bring back players that are coming back from injury. And I think that was an opportunity to do that. It was like a perfect storm, wasn't it? Of a lot all happening and the squad being bolstered all at once. But you've got a feel for the likes of De Bayo, where you're thinking, if I'm not getting a chance in the FA Cup against League 2 opposition, when am I going to get a go?
Yeah.
So
would be worried.
And other outs or rumours of people going out is Joffrey to Hull. Apparently he was having his medical down in London, but I've not seen anything evidence to suggest so, apart from the rumour mill. But it looks like it might be going. A few people have said stuff about it. But the only other one is worth mentioning is Blackburn are interested in taking on Bamford. Any thoughts on that one?
I'll drive him.
I think it's another one where... it's another one where, realistically, if Joseph's not scoring, the only player you've got to bring on up front, if Pirro is also not doing it, is Bamford. So if he goes, somebody's got to come in. That's the only thing is, I don't think anybody's necessarily against the outgoing. It's the incoming that people are then looking at. That's the issue for me. I don't know if you've seen it actually, but Nonto has been linked with a move away. There's been no amounts talked about. Now, whether there's anything to it or not, it's been mentioned. Leeds Live picked it up. Now they're full of shit. So there's a few, and undoubtedly there'll be agent behaviour behind that. But he's linked with the move to Saudi, and there's a hell of a lot of money over there. And he's 21. He could go over there for a couple of years, properly coin it, and then go anywhere in the world he wanted.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't think he'll go.
I don't think he'll go either.
He's had to work to get back in at Leeds.
He has.
He's an important member of the team now, so
maybe
still see it.
Let him go if Harrison comes back.
Fuck that. I just think if he wants to make some coin over there, he'll still be able to do that in 10 years when he's had an actual bit of a career.
Yeah, and that's fair. Jay don't want to see Harrison coming back in case he grows his man bun back.
I just
yeah.
The way that his mum spoke and the fact that he was so inconsistent for us, all that ability, but just couldn't deliver a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to have somebody back on massive wages who's hot and cold, like you say. When we've got good wingers who are perfect for this level, we don't need him. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but we don't need him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He'd be way down the pecking order for me anyway, given what we've got. I mean, no one. I mean, even Nonto or Ramazani aren't getting in over Solomon and Dan James at the minute for me. So Harrison will be way down the list.
Let's be honest. But those are 2 players that have played in the Champions League. It is quite mad that we've got 2 wingers that we can put in the first team that have played Champions League football when we're in the Championship.
Yes.
So as far as more ins are concerned, expected a quiet month. Says, I think Fark's been quite open and honest about it, but also Angus Kinnear has said pretty much the same thing. They'll be monitoring the market; they won't fall asleep, as they've said. But obviously,
that's when Parag does all his.
That's when he does his deal.
Shouldn't fall asleep. Should definitely not. No, it was Parag that said that, wasn't it? Not Angus.
Yeah, he should fall asleep. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll see a couple of players coming in. Surely, but
we might get a don't go to bed just yet, and someone's gone.
I would love Buendia to come in. Buendia would just be absolutely amazing.
But they'd have to cover the majority of his wage, and I can't see him.
I don't know. They've been making a couple of signings of Aston Villa in that position, so you just don't know, do you?
They have, but if you're him and you can go, Pretty much, he's coming from the Premier League, albeit he's not played many minutes, but he's coming from the Premier League. Surely he can pretty much dictate where he goes, and he'll go play in Italy, or he'll play.
Or do we wait until right at the end of the season again? If none of the lower leagues or lower Premier League or other sort of international leagues have come in for him, and he's gone right. Well, Fark might give him a quick tinkle. Hello, and say, get yourself down to Leeds for a few months. It's literally a few months. We're talking a few months here. What are you going to do? You're going to be there, sat on a bench or sat, in the training centre up at Aston Villa. Why don't you come down and start playing for Leeds United? Nudge Told Aronson out of the way for a little bit and come and contribute. I think that's what we all want. That's what we all want.
You have to cover those wages. You have to get Villa to agree to keep paying the guy while he plays elsewhere.
I mean, I'd much rather stick with what we've got. I'll say this isn't necessarily a hot take. I would rather stick with what we've got up front because we've been linked with Latte Lat or whatever his fucking name is. I would rather pay Buendia's wages than bringing him from Middlesbrough.
Atlanta are linked with a move for 20 million for Latte Lat. I can't see us getting anywhere near that.
How are you going to pay 90 grand a week wages for someone?
Well, you pay 90 grand a week wages for somebody if they're loaned in. And you can do that on the proviso that you're not having to spend £20 million on a player.
Or £15 million or whatever.
It's a lot of money in a championship, is that? We ain't going to pay that. It'd smash the structure and the other players would kick off. It's not when you got guys there on 40% fucking pay cuts and you bring somebody else in on 90k.
We're borrowing a Premier League player. They're not Premier League players.
They think they are in their heads, sir.
What's Solomon's current contract? What's he getting a week? Because it'll be obviously subsidised by Tottenham, won't it?
I bet he gets.
Suspect so. But they're getting a lot of benefit from that, aren't they? Because he's been injured so much.
So it's got to be some sort of deal to be. I mean, we're not going to. They might
get Villa to pay half of it. Then
exactly.
Fuck it.
Deal with it. Parag's got us covered, lads. He does this.
He's off the bed soon. He's got.
The later we get in the window, I think. Yeah, the later we get in the window without him moving, I think the more likely it becomes.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm just going to pull this up from Skip because he says, I just can't see us not getting anyone in, far too risky for the 49ers. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to get somebody. League. You've got to get somebody. We're just top of the league. It's like, do you remember Damon Hill when he raced for Arrows? And he had that phenomenal race at Silverstone. And it were a shit car. It were like a shit car at the back. Yeah. He led for the entire race till... I think like either his gearbox fucking broke or his something happened with his engine. He ended up finishing second. That's going to be us. This is the time. We're fucking out there and we're hanging on, waiting for things to fail because we've scraped through games. We've lost games that we should have got something out of. We should be 7 or 8 points clear, but we've got a goalkeeper who lets every fucker in that goes fucking near him. We can't carry on like that. It's like we're hemorrhaging it. We're going to end up fucking sinking.
I hope you're right.
Two players could change it all.
I hope you're right.
They could. A 9 and a decent 10 could literally take us when. Well, I don't know. We'll
still keeper in the 10
at the other end. But then again, you look at the XG against. And in fact, I've got a little graph here as well. You look at Championship XG for and against. We are right up there. For and against, except we've conceded more than Burnley because we've got a shit keeper.
Basically,
but we are miles ahead of everyone in every category, barring the fact that we've conceded much more than Burnley because we've got a keeper with fucking toffee crisps as hands, and that's.
And there's no way Farker and his staff aren't looking at that same graph.
Well, they ought to have been looked. I mean, they've got. Did I tell you that I went for the Blackburn game last season when Smarty scored against us and we lost 1-0. It was quite a special day because I'd been to the charity quiz with Smarty and I'd won some match tickets to go into the press box and all of that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd been to Stats' quiz on behalf of, I think it was Andy's Man Club and the Leeds United Foundation, wasn't it? So we were in there, and you get to go up on gantry and you have a look around, and then you're at the back of the West Stand, and there's all sorts of, I had my little screen, like Moscow's Bell on Square Ball. Oh, yeah. I had my little screen, and I could see playbacks going on and all of that sort of stuff. And the one thing that blew me away, obviously I'm a massive geek. I think everybody knows I love a spreadsheet.
Nerd.
I love me data, and I'm a massive geek. Seeing the setups for all, not the press box, not the free food, not the pop in the fridges and all of that shit. It was seeing the setups of all of the data analytics that were going on. There's no way they're not seeing this. If they're making decisions, they're doing so with all of the information that they need. And the problem that I've got is we're still playing Aronson and we're still playing Melier, even though they've got all of that information. And even though we are seeing such a massive XG against issue, I still don't have any faith that all was going to change. But it won't be because they don't have the information.
Yeah. It's that, like exactly. I say, we've gone. Obviously we've gone a bit over with Fark, etc. But this is on Fark, and if he makes this decision to stick with Melier, then that is 100% on his head.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
But for me,
and he'll live or die by his decisions, won't he? That's why he's in the hot seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why he's on the big books.
I'm going to move on from this because I've noticed we've been on 50 minutes and we've only got covered half of the stuff that I've got written down. We need to crack on. We're going to do a player season review. So, gents, I don't know if you've got a pen and paper or if you just want to shoot from the hip. But I'm going to ask you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories here. So, give me, gents, and you can get involved in the comments as well. We'll pull some up from you guys down there. Who do you think the best player of the season has been so far?
Can I have 2?
Nope. You got to pick one. Jay?
I'm going to give it to Tanaka for consistency.
Tanaka.
Which makes my answer easy because he was one of mine and he's already been mentioned, so I can go with the other one that is Dan James.
Yeah,
okay.
Mine's Dan James.
My other one would have been Solomon, my other one. But
yeah,
I like he's only sort of come into it in the last month or so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think, that's fair. I think out of all of them, the top 3 are probably going to be, I'm guessing it's probably down in the comments as well, Tanaka, James, and Solomon. Who has been your worst player? I don't think I really need to ask you this.
We'll let Jay go first on this one as well, because I've got 2 again.
Yeah, you let me go first, mate.
I wonder who your 2 are, Gilly. The worst one by far. Who was it?
Melier.
Yeah. Aronson.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, no, you're not having that. Give us your second one.
My second one.
No,
my second one was Aronson. That's why. But I can say that because Melier's already been mentioned.
Right. Okay. Who's been the best signing this season?
Well, I'm going to go first on that one.
Okay.
Because I'm going to say Tanaka because Jay's already mentioned Tanaka. I think if you look at where he's come from, the fact he'd never played at this level before, the fact that it was such a low comparative fee compared to what we spent on other players, and the impact he's had. Did you see the stat that since October there is no player in the top 4 divisions of English football that's made? What was it?
1,000 passes or something.
1,000 successful passes and 50 tackles or something like that. It's crazy stats, and there is no other player since October that's done that. So yeah, best signing for me, and it's a surprise because you hope that the signings are going to go well, but you don't expect them to go that well right from the start.
Especially not for that price.
Yeah.
So someone to walk in like that and just like. We all thought Ampadu were the be-all and end-all for the midfield for us.
Bogle! Oh, Bryn's going to be fuming. A couple of people have said Bogle.
Now then.
Bryn feels about Bogle the way that I feel about Aronson.
That might come... Bogle does get a mention in one of mine, but we'll go for it. Who's been the worst signing for you? You might have to be cruel you might have to be cruel to be kind, do you?
Well, I'm going to kind of... circumvent this one and say my worst signing has been the return of Aronson on loan.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough. Gilly? Even though it was last season he signed for... Well, technically the season before that, but, He
returned, didn't he? So if you look on Transfer Market, it looks like his transfer...
You're not allowed that, Jay.
His loan ended.
Yeah, that's it.
No, it's definitely Aronson, but as he's already been said... And the fact that we signed him expecting not to play him and just to fulfill a quota, I'm going to say Cairns.
Oh, really? Yeah, fair enough.
I'd forgotten about him.
Mine's Gilivugi. I've been a bit brutal there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you can say that because I think he's been good for the squad.
I do as well.
I want, Jay. I can say whatever.
You can.
Do you know? I don't. You weren't on with me, Smarty. It might have been one of the many B&Cs that me and Carl have done together. That seems like his was the only face I saw for ages. I think it was you two that was.
That's what me and him were like.
Yeah. I was telling a bit of a tale about watching them warm up, and during the warm up there were a couple of stray passes, and he absolutely tore strips off the young lads. And it were Crew. He wasn't DeBayo. Who else were there? Who else would they have been?
Young lads.
It were Crew and somebody else. Oh, it was the other Chambers. It were Crew and Chambers. Yeah. And there were a couple of misplaced. This is at half time, and there were a couple of misplaced. He absolutely tore strips off them, and then he were giving him a hug and talking him through what he wanted as they walked off the pitch at the end of that. Just before the second half started.
I want to see him coaching like an under-10s team when he retires. No, that's shit. You need to do this.
No, I think he has had a big positive. The level of professionalism, because then they were all on it, and that's a big deal, especially for midfielders that are kids to be able to get that guidance and get that advice from somebody that's been there and done it. It's a big deal. I think he's had a positive impact, but not on the pitch. So
yeah. No, fair enough. I mean, that, like I say, I only threw his name in there because I kind of guessed that you two wouldn't have done. I were probably gonna pick Verba, to be honest. But yeah, Gillivugi.
Well, he's having Harrington if you're having Verba.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can have
the same thing.
It's up to you guys. Who's been your most improved player?
Improved. Hell yeah. That's got to be somebody that was here before then. Dan James. Got to be. He's gone from
absolutely serious.
He's gone from somebody that, you want that bothered about seeing play, if we're honest, to somebody who's really important to what we do now.
Really? I thought it was massively important to us last season.
Last season, maybe.
Who was that? Sorry.
He's on about Dan James.
Oh, right, yeah.
Season, it was quite important, but I think he's carried on that path.
I'm struggling. I think over his time, Firpo's been the most improved player, I think, because he was poor when he came in. He didn't get to grips with Bielsa ball at all, did he? And he's improved over his time, but this season he's been in and out of the side through injury and whatever else. I don't think that he's had sustained.
Try and focus more on this season.
Really. That's what I mean. I don't think he's had enough this season for him to be the answer. I'm really struggling. I don't think that there is one player that stands out that I can say, hand on heart, has improved.
I'm going to go with Bogle because I think he has improved based on what how he was playing at the start of the season to how he is now. I'm quite confident and quite comfortable with Bogle now. Whereas the first couple of weeks are a bit like, oh, this guy really, really can't defend. Whereas I don't really have that kind of viewpoint anymore.
I was watching Bogle as Cal wrote him off with 2 weeks in the season.
Yeah. So I think, there's probably a couple of players out there, to be fair. There's a shout for a couple, but I think Bogle for me is probably improved most. But yeah. Who's been the most underwhelming?
Harrington.
Ooh.
Probably.
Yeah, but for me, like, who we were expecting to do well, who hasn't done well?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't expect him to do well. Joseph.
Yeah.
Maybe not expectation, maybe hope more than that, because it was such a big breakout season for him this time round, and it was important it went well for him, and he's misfired, hasn't he? So maybe I'm being a little bit harsh there, because let's remind ourselves, he'd never started a league game before this season. That's a big, he'd started in the cup, fair enough, and he did pretty well, didn't he? He did very well, in fact. But I think to get to this point in the season and to have the return he's had, albeit in flashes, he's looked handy, he's looked decent, and he's worked hard. There's no getting away from that. But I think most underwhelming for me is Joseph.
What did you say, Jay? Sorry.
I'd either go. I'm stuck between two, to be honest. I'd either go Smith just because I've not seen enough of him. I expected him to be more of a feature in the side when he signed. It's a toss-up between him really and Nonto, just because I think Nonto's doing all right, but he's missing the goals from his game at the moment. And I thought he were going to bang a few in, to be fair, this season.
Yeah, I'm saying mine's Nonto because it was given the whole talisman vibe at the start of the season. Now Somerville and Rutter had gone. We were looking at Nonto to be the next, the next best player, etc., and really kick on this season, and we just really haven't seen that. And now he's obviously behind Solomon and Dan James as well. I mean, he's a brilliant option, and on his day, Nonto's fantastic. But I've been really underwhelmed by his performances and how he's got on so far this season. For me,
I'm struggling a little bit with Michael's response to me. I think he still has 0 goals now, telling me who he's bad. It was me that chose him for underwhelming, because he must be talking about Joseph because he's the one that's got 0 goals. So I'm not. It's almost like he's arguing against me, but agreeing with what I said. I don't really get that. I get. Who's got 0 goals then? Who's he talking about?
I have no idea.
Has Nonto scored? Is that about Nonto?
Nonto scored. I'm struggling to think who hasn't actually scored out of our first team.
James has scored.
I think Furpo is not really.
Heroes
Rothwell's the only one that hasn't, isn't he?
Rothwell, I think.
Even Tanaka scored that well of a finish.
Oh, Joseph has 0.
Oh yeah, he has said Joseph is 0, but he's wrong.
Joseph definitely scored. He's definitely scored. Yeah. He scored that goal from one of Solomon's. He scored at near post. Can't remember who it was against. He's got a few.
There is another player that's been underwhelming as well, and that for me is Strike. I don't think he's been quite as good as I'd expected him to be at this level. So not terribly so. I think he's got a decent partnership with Rodon, but Rodon's that much better. And you're hoping that Strike's going to kick on and be a bit more of a baller and a player at the back. So underwhelming, not awful player, but underwhelming. I would, he's not at the level that I'd have hoped he were going to be at this point.
I will say I've been alarmed at a couple of times when he's been turned and the lack of pace is shown. Yeah. Blackburn won it when he got absolutely stripped a couple of times. Yeah. But he comes running out of defence and he's not quick enough to be able to cover his mistakes. Yeah. When Rodon makes a mistake, he's so quick at getting back in that he can get away with it, whereas Strike doesn't have that.
Yeah, he's pacey. Strike really does scare me at times. And again, I'm going to put my neck on the block and say that he's not good enough for the Premier League. We need better.
Well, he's not.
Joseph's got 2 championship goals and 3 assists by the looks of it.
Yeah, but you've got people, Gilly, that think that Strike's going to be our next big thing in the Premier League, and he's the best defender that we've had for since Pontus Jansson, and it's like, come on, man, fucking hell, what are you looking
for? Return of our Lord and Saviour, isn't it? To some people, it's a bit of an odd one. That
you can't compare Strike to Rodon for me. Apart from Strike's prowess, he's very, very good in the air. Strike. Apart from that, everything else, Rodon trumps it.
I think Rodon's improved in the air because I think he certainly was potty, but he's getting better. I think Strike does have a pass in him that Rodon doesn't, but it so often goes wrong that
it's a risky ball,
you can't. Yeah.
I think Rodon's just a more complete footballer than Strike.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah. It's like a Ben White sort of scenario with Liam Cooper and stuff in it. Obviously there were one that were miles better than the other. Yeah, but fuck Ben White as well because he's a prick. So last one, biggest shock performer or biggest surprise performer for you? The nicest surprise.
I mean, I know mine.
Jay,
Tanaka again, mate. Tanaka again. I did
shock performer for you.
I did not expect him to be anywhere near as good as he has been.
Yeah.
Gilly? Yeah, he's dropped a little recently form wise, but he's still fucking ace.
He's quality, isn't he, Tanaka? He's class. Gilly, who's yours?
Rothwell.
Oh! Clip it!
Yeah.
Clip it! Nah, fair play.
Fair
play. You've owned it, to be fair. You've owned that, Gilly, to be fair.
Yeah.
You were quite vociferous, insane, and slanderous, some might say, at the start of the season. But yeah, for me, I'm saying Rothwell for me. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. I really do.
The thing that most impresses me about him is it doesn't matter how the game is going and what's going on. There are some players in our team that hide it well, but don't go looking for the ball. Yeah. And he's absolutely not one of them. It's a case of I'm going to get this ball and I'm going to drive this forward. And when he makes He makes them penetrating runs. Sometimes I wish that Rodon would do a little bit more of that, because sometimes the game just opens up in front of Rodon, and then he goes, "Oh shit, what do I do now?" Whereas with Rothwell, what he does is he drives to box. And things happen at this level when you're on the ball and you can drive to box and you can carry it forward. I'm really disappointed he's not got a goal. I am really disappointed. Tanaka's only got one. Rothwell doesn't have any. We spoke about being able to score down the spine of the team. Rodon's only got one. Stroit's got, 3, but 2 of them pens. So, I still don't feel we're getting enough from those core 4, because they need to carry a lot more of a goal threat. But, he's surpassed my expectation by some way. So, surprise performance so far this season for me.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement there. Right, no, that's our season review. Thanks to everyone else who has joined in there. There's been some really, really good suggestions. I'm surprised Solomon didn't come out more on top, really. But, it is what it is.
Mid-season review
for a little bit.
Mid-season review.
Mid-season, yes, mid-season review. Thank you, Jay, as always, for correcting me.
No worries, mate.
Very interesting. Now we said Tanaka and Rothwell. Ampadu we've seen is getting picked, and let's be fair, club captain is going to be picked when he's fit.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens if Gruev is back fit and firing, as to how he manages that. Does one of them move a bit further forward?
I think.
Do we play?
It happens.
I think we'll just see him coming in front of Gilivugi for now, to be honest. Because, for me, Tanaka and Rothwell should still be that middle pairing. I know, obviously, we're going to see Ampadu a lot more, and probably rightly so, because he is class. But for me, really, neither Rothwell or Tanaka have done anything to justify being dropped from starting 11.
No. They aren't. But for me, Ampadu's just that level better, and he's also a shithouse, and you need to have a bit of that.
Yeah, totally agree.
You know what you were saying before about when you're a young player and you play nice football and well, he's only 23 and he already knows it all. He does it all.
And can be a prick. Yeah, he's class.
And you need a bit of that.
You do, yeah.
Credit where it's due. Fark has been rotating that part of the squad really well for me as well.
Yeah.
I find, bringing one off, or starting one, and then obviously exchanging it. He's just managed it really well.
He's done well with wings as well.
Yeah,
he's managed rotation far better this year than he did
much better.
At any point.
Much better. Well, we didn't really see any rotation last year, did we?
No.
Yeah, we saw a couple of things, like when he put Gruev in for that first game against Stoke and a couple of other changes.
Yeah, and it went tits up, and then it
ruined, and it was an awful game. Yeah,
but he played him in an 8, didn't he? He played him in an 8/10 role. He was far too far forward, and he looked like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
And he made that mistake right early on, didn't he, where he just misread the ball completely and it ran through to one of their players and he was thrown goal. And we didn't concede, but you could see that played on his head for about 10 years. 10 minutes. Yes, that's harsh, isn't it? 10 minutes.
I'm going to move us swiftly on because we are ticking along very, very nicely. We've been doing an hour and 10 minutes and we've still not got to the frigging Wednesday game or predictions. So now it's time for everyone's favourite parts of the show. It is for the shit take of the week.
Hey-o, has got a shit take this week, my little sparrow fact.
Love a bit of that.
Everyone loves the shit take of the week. There's quite a few to get. Honestly, I've spent a long time flying through the shit take of the week account today. It's been bedlam. I mean, to be fair, I've been copied in quite a few shit takes. I know, Gilly, you've had a couple. Luke's been going mental with it, but I can't show a lot of his because of it. A lot of it's to do with like racism and stuff, and I am opening that jar. That is not going open.
Nope.
Stay away from
lots of individuals and not of the podcast as a whole.
Yes, thank you very much. So we're avoiding that. We're avoiding that like a chuffing ton of bricks. Anyway, should take one of the week is Lewis Deaton said Joffrey is better than Joseph, by the way, and I responded to stick to filming football clouds. Crowd you plum at shit take of the week. Now then, is Joffrey better than Joseph?
On pure ability,
honestly,
probably not.
I don't think that Joffrey's better. I think when you reflect on the flashes that we saw of him and the impact that he had, I think that romanticism might play into an answer there if somebody says that Joffrey's better. But there's a reason that Joffrey's not getting anywhere near first team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's why I copied in shit take because I thought that was quite a shit take, and for someone that's got quite a following and someone that works for the BBC as well, I thought. You're getting had, my friend. Shit take 2 is from yourself, Gilly. Do you want to take this one away?
I'm not going to read out the full first tweet because there's a word in there that I don't like. But somebody remind me not to go to Leeds FA Cup games at ER again. Always full of absolute people that he doesn't like. And then somebody's followed that up with not related, and this is the reason that I really did tag shit take of week. And I will point out still, I am last man standing on not doing this on this podcast, but. Hamza LUFC said, not related, but a dude behind me was saying we're as big as United and Liverpool and bigger than Chelsea. And then he's going laughing my ass off. I'm like, you've got Leeds United in your fucking handle, man. What are you doing? What a prick. So that's the reason that I tagged shit take. But actually, there was 2 in 1 there.
Yeah, 2 in 1. 2 in 1 in a hit. Are you all right to do a poll after this, Gilly? We'll pick his top 4.
No, I've not done one before, but I'm sure I can work it out.
Jay, can you do it? Do you know how to do the poll?
I know how to do one, yeah.
It's usually we'll decide which one's as top 4. This is another one. This is another one of mine. Above average FPL player has said, on today's performance, we get relegated when we go up. We need to clear out the deadwood. Those being Nonto, Melier, and Ampadu, etc.
Oh, good God.
I quote tweeted, it said, Ampadu equals Deadwood. That is defo shit take of the week. I mean, come on. As far as I'm concerned, calling Ampadu Deadwood is just an absolute fucking shit take of the year, maybe.
It's a travesty.
It is crazy. And, Nonto has played in the Premier League and looked handy. And he doesn't look like a fish out of water now. So I think with a couple of seasons development, I'd be quite interested to see how Nonto handled being in the Premier League. But more the Ampadu one than the Nonto one. To be fair, he's called Melier out, which I think we've all done as well. So
hey, that's fine. That's fine. But Nonto were one of our best performers when we were in the Premier League last time. They will literally get the ball to Nonto and let him score when he were playing up front. Whatever. Surprised we haven't seen Nonto up there. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. I think we will do a shit take of the year. I'm going to get Brent to do a shit take of the year. We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to get some. Yeah. We'll
get him recording it, and we'll do like a World Cup of shit takes.
We'll have to remember to keep some of these best ones to the side. We'll best start doing that now, actually. Anyway, I've got them all saved anyway on my phone somewhere. That was number 3. Number 4. Oh my Christ. Gavin Moores, I'm not sure. I think it was on about some guys saying that the return of points over. Oh, this was in response to Daniel Fark winning December Manager of the Month. And some guys saying he's had a great return, yet the fans are still mourning. Davin Bally, is probably how you spell it?
Yeah, Barley.
Stupid, aren't you? Fans mourn because of the repeated.
Oh, it's Davin Barley, isn't it? His name's Dave Aldridge. It's Davin Barley. I assume he lives in Barley.
Okay. Sorry, pretty stupid, aren't you? Fans mourn because of the repeated incompetence shown by Fark. It's about the process, not results. Tactically clueless, and I've no idea how to use subs or crowd to his advantage. Gavin Moores has tagged in shit take a week and says, you've cracked it there. Who needs wins? Just get a manager who makes 5 subs at a half time in a 3-3-4 formation, but we get beat every week. That's the process. Clown. I mean, hell.
It's about process, not results. It's about as long as it gets, isn't it? Because it doesn't matter how entertaining you are. If you're not getting the results, you're gone.
I mean,
I must have missed the bit where the team that plays the most attacking football gets gifted an automatic promotion place.
I mean, look at Bielsa. We failed under Bielsa in that first year,
Yeah.
And they were the best football most of us had ever seen, in Bielsa's first year. So, that's just crazy talk. Shit take of the week, number 5. There's only 6, by the way. Joseph really isn't that great, is he? Graham, Mr. Purple Sky, too, says, first 90s completed all season in it. Fark has no idea how to use a squad and should have known better, which is one of our alt accounts has tagged in shit take of the week. Now, this is definitely Mr. Minshall. This is Luke.
Yes.
Because of his little bias against Matteo Joseph. For me, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's a bit harsh on Joseph, if I'm honest. Yes, he wasn't great, but it wasn't that poor, where I think that, he's getting a lot of unlawful stick for his performance against Harrogate.
Unlawful. Wow.
We should get the crime counter going.
I don't. Is the shit take that Luke's pointing out? Is that Joseph not being that great, or is that Farker saying? Is that saying Farker has no idea how to use a squad?
I don't know because
we've already talked about the rotation being good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he's just doing. It's the first night he's completed all season. Farker has no idea how to use a squad. I think he's the shit take of the week.
It's just a bit of a strange one, really.
But I didn't want to completely leave all of Luke's out because I thought most of them were shit.
I get
that. So I thought I'll humour him and I'll stick one in. I have actually got another one, which again is Luke using this. I don't know why he didn't just. In fact, someone called him out during the week. Actually, he went, "Why don't you use your main account, you prick?" Even though it's out all of our accounts, as they should know, but it's not just Luke's. But anyway, La Porza, a minority of Leeds fans are actually a naughty word, very right at the top. I'm not going to say it, but it begins with C. You can probably imagine. Actually, had plenty of subpar performances last season, but not once was this discourse around him in those moments as negative as they are for Joseph. Young players need time on the pitch; they don't get better by magic. That's because Jack LUFC has done a highlights reel of Matteo Joseph versus Harrogate, and yet again, Luke has tagged in shit take of the week. Again, really, I'm just humouring him. I'm afraid shit take of the week 5 and 6, which is this one and this one, don't make the cut for me. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
There's no real substance behind them. So we've got Joffy's better than Joseph. Shit take of the week for some dickhead saying United. Shit take of the week 3 is Ampadu Deadwood. Well, I dare say that's probably going to win. And number 4 is the process and not results. So, Jay, if you can crack on with a poll, if you wouldn't mind.
Done, my little friend.
Everyone in the comments can vote for your favourite one, and we'll look at the results at the end of the show. Right. Moving swiftly on again, because we are running out of time. Sheffield Wednesday on Sunday, 12 o'clock kickoff. I don't know why it's at 12 o'clock, because it doesn't really get really tasty between Sheffield. It's not like it's Millwall or whatever, is it? It's a bit of a random time at 12 o'clock on Sunday. But anyway, are you expecting...
Is it on Telly Box?
I'm guessing it will be.
It is. So it'll be the Sky ship. Yeah, it's on Sky Sports main event for anybody that's interested.
Yes. Are we expecting any changes? Do we see Darlow coming in for Melier at all, or any sort of other changes for the team? Do you expect it to be largely the same when we played? Who did we play last? Not Blackburn.
Harrogate.
No, before. Oh, it was Hull, wasn't it? Hull. Do we think it's going to be the same team as we played Hull, or do we think any sort of changes with no injuries, no fresh injuries or anything like that?
Given that I can't remember the team we played against, I'm going to go no changes. Again,
Jay, I'm so glad I'm sat down now for that revelation. Imagine my shock that you can't remember fuck all.
Oh yeah, you want me to recall 2 games back every single person who started?
Do you want me to tell you the lineups?
And it's not like you had an opportunity to prepare for it or anything. I've got an opinion. It will not surprise you that I've got an opinion. I think Melier starts. I really do. I'm not saying that that's the right choice. I just think he will. If Bogle's fit, he starts. I think if Rodon and Struijk are fit, they start. Left back's quite interesting because I didn't think Schmidt did much wrong. I don't think Verba did particularly. Verba, when he came back in, did quite well and surprised me at how well he did. But I don't, there's been a couple of times since then and before then. I mean, if we go back to that first Borough game, Christ. So he's blown out on cold. I don't think he's nailed that down. If Firpo's fit, I think if Firpo's 100%, he starts every game, I think. But if he's not, then maybe Schmidt will move across to the left and we'll see Bogle. Maybe Byram will start. So left back for me is the bit that's a bit of a question. I think Ampadu plays. I think he plays every game he's fit for. I like Ampadu and Tanaka in the middle. I suspect. I agree with Bryn actually in the comments, which is a dangerous thing, I know, but I agree with him.
A rarity in itself.
While we were talking about surprising players and underwhelming players and so on, and I'd said that Rothwell was the surprise to me. He did point out that his form has dropped a little bit of late.
Playing a lot, wasn't he?
He has played a lot. Tanaka has as well, and that's why actually I think Ampadu should be quite fresh. So for me, Ampadu and then one of the others, but I think Tanaka he's the one that I would pick, and I think that I personally think that'll be the start. I would start Solomon on one wing, and I would start James on the other. Obviously, I would not play Aronson, but I think he plays, and I think he'll play Perrault. So that for me is going to be the team. It'll be Meslier, Bogle, Rodon, Struijk, question mark at left back. I think it'll be Ampadu, Tanaka, Solomon, James, Aronson, and Perrault.
Yeah, I reckon so.
I'd have Ampadu at the back.
What of a Struijk?
Yeah.
I mean, they were very, very good at this time of the season last season. But so was Bamford, and would you start him?
Nope. I just think that...
Well, you can't anyway, even if you wanted to.
If you're gonna look at them both side by side, though, for me, there's nothing that Struijk does that Ampadu can't do, but there are things Ampadu does that Struijk can't do.
I agree. I think he reads the big game better, and he is a shithouse to the level that Struijk just isn't.
I Struijk.
I do agree with that. And he's got a partnership that's unrivaled with Rodon, and if we're playing Darlow in net, which I would prefer, they know each other's game. But I hope you're right. I can't see it.
I said a while ago that I would have liked to have seen Rodon Ampadu take Struijk's place to be next to Rodon, just because I wanted Rothwell and Tanaka to stay in midfield, and I asked about Struijk. But to be fair to Struijk, he's had half a decent. I mean, probably underwhelming by some standards, but I don't see really much evidence to drop him. Really, I mean, he's one of the best headers of the ball. I've already flashed it up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I flashed it up because I knew it. Because for the benefit of the audio listeners, Ian Ward says, "I bet Jay knows exactly what his iron settings he's on."
Max,
as hot as bloody possible, get him crinks out. There's only a certain setting that his ironing board goes to, and that's as high as possible.
That's right. But as for the team, Smarty,
largely on the scale of it, I think it'll be relatively unchanged. So,
I would like to
from the league game, not from the cup game.
Yeah,
say that again, Jay.
I would like to see Darlow start. I think we.
Yeah, I think we all would.
Whether he
realistically,
do you think he will?
No,
I think he might.
Nah,
I think he might.
I don't think he will. From what he said,
of the guy in goal falling to pieces at this stage of the season.
But from what he said in the press conferences, etc., I'd be very, very surprised if he drops Meslier for Darlow. As much as we all pretty much want him, I've never seen such a unanimous front on this before. Well, probably not since the dreaded badge.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people after that match were like, "Get him out of this frigging team now." But if that's the last thing you do, Daniel Fark, get him out of our team because we don't want to see him. But yeah, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some predictions down. The first person with a prediction in from now gets it for the fans. Jay, I'm going to come to you for your first prediction. What do you think
is going to be? Order of the table.
I don't give a shit. I do what I want.
Oh, okay, you've gone rogue.
It's only because Gilly's taking the scores down. That's all. That's why
3-0 Leeds. We'll make a comeback and.
Are you going 3-0 Leeds?
A good game, yeah. I think so.
How can you make a comeback if it's 3-0?
I mean, to decent performances because we drew the last league game. You know exactly what I mean.
FV White for the fans is going 3-0, so you can have that one.
Hang on.
Herbert and Nige.
Is it Nige?
No, that were ages ago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Well, I say ages ago, a few minutes ago. But he's unfortunately a little bit premature, Nige. Not in the good way.
FVY in 3-0.
Yeah. Gilly, what are you going with?
Come back to me. You go first.
Ooh. I'm going to go 2-1 to Leeds, I should say. There is a few people that are also in our predictions league that are in the comments that haven't come forward because they're a set of shithouses, i.e. Bryn Johnson, Jonathan Brown, etc. So bollocks to you, lads. So yeah, it's literally down to you now, Gilly.
I'm going to go 3-1. I were unsure as to whether it's going to be 3-1 or 3-0. So it's almost certainly going to be 3-0 because I've gone 3-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put your money on 3-0.
I can see us conceding, you know.
Is that if we play Mez?
Yeah, definitely can see us conceding if we play Mez. But Wednesday are looking a little bit more dangerous out there. They're not doing too bad at the minute under, is it Danny Roll or whatever his name is?
I don't want to hear about it. We need to beat them.
Yeah, well, I think we'll beat them. I think they'll probably just shit it. I reckon they'll score first. I think they'll score first.
That's the worry. That's the worry.
And I think they'll score first, and we'll have to really, really try hard. I've not even gone through.
So I don't know if you've ever used a website called The Fishy, but it's been around for a long, long time, and you can tell it's been around for a long, long time. It's not really been refreshed in any way. It still looks like it. Huh?
The hygiene website.
Who's Gene? Hi, Gene. Don't know where that came from. But this is the site that I tend to use for form table. For some reason, I always have ever since I would try to do predictions for. Do you remember when you used to get the big long sheets from bookies and it'd be broken down into sections? Yeah. I used to use it then in like 2001 or something, and it's still there. So if you look on there, it gives you the last 6 and the last 10 and the home and the away form, which is quite useful if you want to see that. Sheffield Wednesday are 4th in the table in the last 6. We're 3rd. So it doesn't give any weightings against the size. Well, it does, but I've not taken it into account. It does show you the amount of kilometres that they've travelled over the course of the last 15 days. So it's quite good. The last 10, Leeds are 2nd in the table and Sheffield Wednesday are 5th. So they're not a million miles away. They've been on fairly decent form.
Oh shit! Wrong table.
and again.
Oh, Wednesday C. They're doing all right, you know. Expected goals for, they are doing all right.
The one thing I would say is that
goals against
at home, we are in a position. We aren't lost in 6. We've won 5. So and a goal difference of +13. So anybody's looking at us thinking, "Fucking hell, they're a proposition at home," and we are, and we should be. So I do expect us to win, but I don't think it'll be a pushover.
Yeah. I'm expecting the usual shithousery, let's defend like fuck, shithouser goal, and go back to defending like fuck. Because that's just exactly how most teams come and set up against us. So get yourself some smelling salts or whatever you need to do to keep yourselves awake, because I think you're going to need them. Right.
Apparently it's on ITV, is that one?
What is?
Oh, yeah, it's the ITV game.
What
but
is?
It said it were on Sky.
Our game against Sheffield
Wednesday.
Yeah.
ITV?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Don't know why my voice has gone so high.
You just can't believe it, can you?
Gone all scouse.
Sure.
Yeah, speaking of scouse, have you seen that frigging, not that it's scouse at all, that new coach of Plymouth and the big speech they gave him?
Yeah, 4 minutes of I'm going to run through fucking brick walls for that guy.
Mate, I'd fucking run through a brick wall for him, and I'm a fucking Leeds fan. I'm like, okay, mate.
Yeah,
obviously,
no,
we're going to play them right at the end of the season or whatever, but I expect them, based on that
it might be stats by then.
But like pissing Gladiator, like Maximus Decimus Meridius, fucking standing in front of them. Can you imagine going from fucking Rooney screaming, "You alright, Chip?" to that guy? Fucking hell, what a contrast. Anyway,
the one thing I would say is he pointed out that the running stats was it Belgium he was at, the running stats, they were best in the league for 3 seasons in a row.
Bielsa, isn't it?
They're going to be hard to beat, put it that way.
Well, they drew 1-1
they can run all they want against us. They'll play into our hands, you'd think.
Yeah, but if it's just that they're just running power and they're not worrying so much about individuals and best players and whatever else, and it's all about shape, then it's a bit of an unknown, and it'll be interesting to see how it gets on.
I mean, they've got shit players. We're a much better squad on paper. I mean, they've got a couple. I think we've even been linked with a couple. I think on the rumour mill. But yeah, they should they can run all they want. Bollocks to you. They've got a right chicken mission to get out of the bottom 3 anyway. We don't. We've just got to get promoted. Right, I'm gonna scud
a poll result.
Yeah,
Or shall I keep it running?
No, we'll do it now then. What's one? Because I'm guessing there'll be two outrunners. Go on. Give us the top
it lets
two.
me look.
He says, because we've been going an hour and a half. I think this is knocking on the longest episode we've ever had.
No.
Well, it's disappeared on me, so we may never know.
Oh, excellent.
I think it was, but just to go concise, I think it was the Ampadu one that was winning because that had 58%.
Can anyone in the comments see? They'll probably be able to see.
I've just gone to end the poll. It's closed the old thing.
Ollie's just fucked this, innit?
Can our subscribers help us out, please? Because Jay's fucked it.
No, honestly, it's gone crazy. Normally it just works and shows you the result, but for some reason this time it hasn't. I'm just going to press this button though, because it's new and I don't know what it does.
Jay just turned off the internet.
It's alright. It's
Jay scratching the ADHD itch that he's got. Oh, there's a button. I don't know what it does.
What's that do?
I've pressed it. It's good.
Anyway, I'm going to bring us down a little.
Give me the result.
Jesus Christ. Herding kittens.
Last place, Joffy being better than Joseph. 3%.
Yeah.
Process this, 14%. United, 25%, and the winner was
morally the winner. 5%. I think that one.
Yeah, there you go. For some reason,
yeah, Herbert's right here. I agree with the result, but I had to vote United on moral grounds. Absolutely.
Yes,
correct.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. The right decision there. I'm going to bring us down before we go slightly up. Jay, remember I asked you to do the Andy's Man Club stuff, which I bet you haven't done.
When did you ask me that?
This afternoon.
I'm ready for
that. Good man, Gilly. Thank you.
I don't even remember you asking me.
That's because you're a lunatic and about reliable.
Sorry, mate. Honestly, I don't.
Trains.
Jesus
anyway,
Christ.
I'm going to bring us down a little bit because yesterday it was our ex-captain Sol Bamba's 40th birthday. You might remember him. Unfortunately, the club haven't done anything about like tweeting about it or anything, which I think is pretty poor. I mean, obviously,
even Cardiff have.
Cardiff have, Middlesbrough have. We didn't do, which I think is pretty shit. I think Luke had mentioned it in the group that he'd tweeted Wilson to see if they'd done it, and he hadn't done, which I think is pretty poor. But yeah, Sol Bamba legend. Happy 40th birthday for yesterday. Happy heavenly birthday, should I say, for yesterday. Some other sad news to add to kind of spin it on a little bit. Jaden Bamford, unfortunately, we lost him in December. You might have seen a video of him meeting a few players and stuff at Thorpe Arch and getting involved with a little bit of training and stuff like that. There's a plan to have an applause and maybe a little sing-song for him on the 10th minute against Sheffield Wednesday. So if you see everyone start cheering on the 10th minute, that's why. But yeah, we lost Jaden, unfortunately, in December. So yeah, we are going to close this one out now with Andy's Man Club. If you want to take that away, Gilberto.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're going through a storm or have recently been through one and you're a man over 18, perhaps Andy's Man Club Leeds may be able to help you. With venues in Kirkstall, Pudsey, Central Leeds, Beeston, Seacroft and Morley, open 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Monday barring bank holidays. There's also weekly and monthly social events with the aim to get men talking and to smash the stigma around men's mental health. Details of venues and everything they're doing is at Andy's Man Club Leeds Facebook, so go give them a follow and help spread the word.
Excellent, thank you for that. I've
seen why you asked me, Smarty, sorry. But you asked me at like 10:30 this morning. Now, just for context, my day started with my key snapping in the front door lock. I got to work at 11 a.m. and I had a shitter from there onwards. So
Andy's got ADHD.
I don't recall. I don't remember seeing that. I don't remember reading it.
I know we don't mention it.
Jay. Fucking hell, first I've heard.
I'm ignoring that. It's gone. I don't recall it at all.
Luckily, Gilly had it on, but I also did because I knew you'd forget. So never mind. That's why we love you.
Someone's got it.
I would normally come on to any other news. But
ambitious but shit. Is that like Top Gear?
Yeah. We've digressed. We've gone on. And to be fair, we could have gone a lot more as well. It's just been.
We could. I mean, what do we feel about Millwall win for FA Cup?
Don't care. Hopefully we stuff them.
I think. What do they normally bring? About 200, 300 fans.
Escorted from the train station.
There'll be 4,000 at this, won't there? Because it's mandated in terms of attendance, isn't it? Now it depends when it is, because we were looking at this and trying to work out when the fixture would probably fall. And if it's not on the Friday night, the likelihood is there's going to be the 2 fixtures that Leeds will have to move. So it might be a Friday night fixture, which then means that trying to get up from London it'll be difficult. But I think if that's a Saturday afternoon, I think they're coming in numbers.
I can't see him bringing a lot of fans. I mean, the frigging stadium were empty against Dagenham and Redbridge. Jesus Christ! And they never.
They love to wait us though.
A long time. Yeah, no, but they haven't brought a decent support away, up to us in a long, long time. I can't see him bringing. They might bring 2,000. I can't see him taking that extra allocation. I'll be bloody pissed off if they take my seat off me again.
Oh, you'll not be able to sit there.
You'll have taught me to sit in it.
You'll have to disinfect it.
Fucking.
At least somebody from Harrogate's only going to come along and sip tea and eat Victoria sponge.
Somebody from Harrogate probably cleaned it before and after.
Oh, this is dirty. Who's been set here? Oh my God. Just got the handkerchief out and give it a wipe. Oh my God, you horrible bastards. It's probably been wiped down by wet wipes or something. Someone had taken a packet of toilet wipes.
Scented.
But, yeah. Anyway, again, we're digressing. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in the comments tonight. It's been a bloody hoot, as always. Thank you, too, for joining us as well. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to, just by chance, then please do. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers, which is mega when you think about it. It's absolutely blown up to say that we struggled to get 500 so many years ago, and now we're knocking on 4,000. It's crazy.
And it is our fourth birthday. I don't know if you've seen when logging into YouTube. It is our fourth birthday.
I didn't.
Is it actually?
I didn't even.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was supposed to be reading that.
I don't know if it's today. I think we've just ticked over our fourth birthday.
You're asking Jay to notice fucking stuff. Like,
I don't know any of my siblings' birthdays. I can't remember any of them.
It'd be like a Jack in the Box going next to Jay's head. It'd be like, what was that?
That's what it's like sometimes.
What the friggin' hell was that? Again, thank you everyone for supporting us along the way as well. 4 years, man. That's mad. That's mega. That's mega. Like I say, again, if you haven't done, please subscribe to our Roland Button-Up says, wish me a luck explaining to my fellow Americans how we play Sheffield Wednesday on a Sunday. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. You have to record the reactions. Thanks again, everyone. I think myself and Luke are back for Baradi and Coke. I don't know when that'll be because it's a Sunday and Luke's probably going to have some sort of, I don't know, he'll be up to something else, I would imagine.
Some shenanigans.
Something else on a Sunday. I don't know if he's up or not, but yeah, it might be a Monday pod. I might have to drop out and get one of you guys to nip in for me or something.
I'm sure we can sort something.
Yeah, so me and Luke for Baradi and Cook. Thank you everyone for joining us. Until then, take care, have a good weekend, and we'll see you in a bit.